figure out how to do the Zoom.
All right, everybody. Okay. Thank you for joining for the third installment of this wonderful class on Israel, beautiful Israel. The conversation today is about the north of Israel, which is truly glorious. What you're seeing here in this picture is Rosh Hanikra. There is just an incredible coastline as you get to the north of Israel. It becomes cliffs and mountainous all the way from the sea to the edge of the Golan. And that creates the border with Lebanon. We're not going to talk about the Golan Heights today. We'll talk about that next week. But as you come down, it's very fertile, very, very lush. The main farming valleys of Israel are in the north, and many kibbutzim and cities there. Then there is Tiberias on the Sea of Galilee. We'll talk about all these different places. So it's just a very beautiful, lush, mountainous area, the northern part of Israel. Maybe one of the most beautiful places. But like I had said last time, it's not highly densely populated. It's obviously more densely populated than the south, but compared to the center of Israel, there's a lot of space, a lot of breathing space. So
There was a recording available of last week.
there is a recording available of last week. Absolutely. There we go. Okay. So what you're seeing, can everybody see this?
Beautiful.
What you're seeing here is the Baha'i Garden in Haifa. Haifa is an incredible city. They say it's the city that works. I have not spent a lot of time in Haifa, but it's where the military port is. As we said, after Ashdod, it's the second largest port city. It's where the Israeli has its submarine base, as well as a submarine base. The most impressive thing about Haifa is the Baha'i Gardens. The Baha'i is a religion that kind of grew out of Islam. It was like a reform movement within Islam and became like a heretical movement. It's pacifist by nature. And so they've sort of been oppressed, but they've gone around the world and built these temples. And one of them was in Haifa. Now, this area is famous from the Tanakh, from the Bible. It's Mount Carmel, Har Carmel. And Elijah has a showdown with the priests of Baal at Har Carmel. So when you're standing there on top of Mount Carmel and you're like, look at all these, coffee shops and nice restaurants. Remember that Elijah roasted a bunch of Baal priests there and said, "Who's with Hashem? Come with me." It's one of the few cities in Israel where Arabs and Jews live side by side. It's a mixed city, and that's worked out fairly well.
Yeah. You hardly hear Hebrew. You hear Italian, you hear German, you hear Arabic. Yeah.
What is this? So on Mount Carmel, there are signs of human life for hundreds of thousands of years. They found early Homo sapiens here and Neanderthals. And there's these caves. Also, it's the only place in Israel that has these lightning bugs. They have fireflies like we do.
Really?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's called the Fairy Forest. It's on the other side of Mount Carmel from Haifa. There's a lot of forests up there. There's a lot of pine forest.
Wars there as well?
What?
The wild pigs
Wild pigs?
of the Carmel High Forest.
I'm sure. I'm sure. So yeah, this was as you read here, the story of Eliyahu, and he hid in a cave, so that you could go to the cave that they say Eliyahu hid in.
It's a cave.
Yeah. Now this is not exactly what it looks like. This is obviously AI a created picture, but it's somewhat like that.
It's terrace.
Yeah, it's terrace. It goes the Baha'i garden goes all the way from the top of the mountain and has garden after garden going all the way to the bottom. And it's definitely something worth stopping at and walking if you're able to.
I've been there.
Yeah. Yeah, we always go, all the Israel trips I've been on, we always go to the Baha'i Gardens because it's really one of the world wonders. 19 meticulously made terraces, and also in Haifa is the Technion.
Yeah.
Technion is like Israel's MIT. It's some of the top technology comes out of the Technion. It's like not as much medical advances as tech advances. There is another, what's the other institute? Yeah, the Weizmann Institute, exactly. That's the second place. Germans, it's interesting, there's still Germans there. The Germans came in 1868. And so at the bottom, right up by the bottom of the Baha'i Temple, there's a whole neighborhood that's like this German colony. Because I guess it was, I don't know the whole story. I heard it once by a tour guide. They just, I can't remember why they came, but a bunch of people came from Germany for a more simple life. And that was.
Are the Baha'is monotheistic?
Yes, they are monotheistic, but they believe in all the prophets of all the religions.
Oh, okay.
They believe in Jesus, they believe in Muhammad, they believe in Moshe, they believe in everybody, but they say we all need to get along together, and they welcome everybody. So yeah, it's a good faith. I like that.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Sorry,
How's
No,
it
no,
going?
no, it's fine.
are you talking to me?
How's it what?
Okay, I'm just muted. So we're going to Tzfat next. If you go directly east from Haifa, you're going to pass through some Arab villages. There's a lot of Arab villages up there, but those are the most peaceful of the Israeli Arabs. The Arabs in the area that's in the north are generally very proud to, or at least happy to be Israeli.
They're Israeli citizens.
To be Israeli citizens. But if you keep on going, there'll be that big mountain range, the backbone of Israel. Even though the whole area is mountainous, you hit the backbone, and on the top of the mountain is a city called Tzfat. And Tzfat is one of the four holy cities in Judaism. The holy cities being Hebron, which we haven't spoken about yet, Jerusalem, which hopefully we'll talk about today, and Tiberias, which we'll talk about today, and Tzfat. Tzfat is on top of the mountain, and so it represents air. The air is beautiful up there. It's gorgeous views in every direction. The city is built on the top of the mountain, so the main road, if you go down the main road, you'll go around the main road in infinite times because it's a circle.
Yeah.
Like the main street is a circle. Does that make sense? Because it's at the top of the mountain.
Spiral.
What?
Spiral.
I guess a spiral or a circle. Yes. Now, if you go up to the top, the very peak is this big fortress, a Crusader fortress, on top of the mountain. And I've actually slept there outside in a sleeping bag in the park. But on one side, the main Jewish area is on one side of the mountain,
But you gotta
facing
stop talking because I don't, it would interrupt.
facing Mount Meron. And the cool things about Tzfat, first of all, it was a city that was populated by Jewish mystics. It really took off after the expulsion of Jews from Spain. When Jews were expelled from Spain, they went all over the place. Many of them, the majority of them, went to Turkey. Sfaradim mainly went to Turkey, but they really went all over the place. And one of the places that a lot of the exiles went was Tzfat. And so you had these tremendously erudite and holy rabbis who are showing up in Tzfat in that generation afterwards. And a lot of times, and this has been true in Jewish history, whenever there is trauma, the generation responds to it with great creativity. Meaning you have two choices when there's trauma. Either give up and throw in the towel and just say, that's it. Or reinterpret it. So we have to reinterpret everything and really come up with a new beginning, a new explanation for why we are and who we are. And Judaism has done that over and over again in response to trauma. The expulsion from Spain was like the major community. You had Ashkenaz, which was the major community, but half of the Jewish community was the Spanish Jewish community. And when they were all kicked out, it was a tremendous trauma. And there were a lot of things that came about because of that, including Shabtai Tzvi, the Sabbatian movement, like messianic movements. But a lot of people went to Israel. They were like, I guess, where are we going to go? Well, this is our chance to go to Israel. And so you had this golden age of Tzfat, of the city, in the 1500s. Right? Because when did the Jews get kicked out of Spain?
1492.
Right. So late 1400s. The 1500s
100 years before.
were a time that Tzfat was perhaps the leading city of Jewish scholarship. You had the writer of the Shulchan Aruch, the Mechaber. Yeah, the Shulchan Aruch, which is the code of Jewish law, was written by Rav Yosef Karo in the 1500s in Tzfat. You had Rav Shlomo Alkabetz, who wrote Lecha Dodi, that we sing on Friday night, a song of love for God and the Shabbos. Rav Moshe Cordovero, one of the great Kabbalists, and of course the holy Arizal. The Arizal was the founder of modern Kabbalah, lived in that time. So you have these rabbis running around together in Tzfat. You have like some of the most famous rabbis in Jewish history all together in this holy city. And their holiness reverberates, not just because we still have their mikvah, we still have their synagogues. Their synagogues are intact. You can go and walk through these ancient synagogues that are beautiful. And they had arks imported from Italy that are, they're
In the
beautiful.
1500s.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it's incredible. Some of the things and some of the miracles that took place there. We'll get into the military history, but a couple things about Tzfat. There's a lot of blue. Like there's narrow alleyways everywhere. Can everyone hear me? There's narrow alleyways that go down the mountain because it's very steep. So like you have that one road that goes in a band, and then pretty much if you want to go anywhere, you have to go down steps. And it's hard. It's kind of hard to get around by car. And then you have very thin alleyways, so it's like an old city. And you have an artist colony there. One whole strip one whole road or like kind of a walkway. You can't drive cars through it. It's like almost like the old city of Jerusalem is the artist colony. And there you have some of the most talented artists in Israel,
Right.
certainly those of a spiritual nature today. And you can go shopping and buy beautiful art that emphasizes the spiritual nature of Judaism. So it's like a giant Judaica shuk, if you think about it like that. There's the Arizal Mikvah, which is an ancient mikvah. It's ice cold even in the summer. It comes out of a spring in the ground they say if you jump in there, all your sins are forgiven. Um,
They're frozen away.
so you see, it was originally a Canaanite settlement. It was from the tribe of Naphtali. Then there's the Crusader fortress on the top. And I just want to get into the military story of Tzfat as well. But this blue color, doors are painted this blue. It's like a Kabbalistic custom to paint things in this sky blue. It's interesting. We learned about that in the Parsha this week, is that the tzitzit, the tzitzis, had a strand of techelet, strand of blue. Why was there a strand of blue, and why does it remind you to do the mitzvot of God, to remember God? So it says the strand, the blue reminds you of the ocean, which reminds you of the heavens, which reminds you of the throne of glory. So this blue almost like represents the spiritual infinite, the things that are most close to infinity that we can see, or represent that spiritual concept of the sky and the sea, which are these blue colors. Okay. Well, I got ahead of myself. So there you go. Rav Isaac Luria, the Arizal. You know, if you've seen the Sfirot, like the tree of the Sfirot, right? That's all Arizal. That's Kabbalah from the Arizal. Okay, so we already did that.
That's a street.
Yeah, that's a street.
That's like, yeah, this is one of the main areas. Yeah, this is the main square. There's a main square. There's also music festivals there.
Wow.
It serves as the spiritual holy city of Israel today, in terms of being not like Jerusalem's the holy city, like Jerusalem is like fire, the fire of the soul, but Sfat is like the hippy dippy holy city, like the Kabbalistic holy city. Like if you ever go to Costa Rica, there's a city called Monteverde, which is up in the mountains, and it's like a holy city, like a spiritual city. It's the same kind of thing. It's the place where if you're searching for spirituality, that's where you go to hang out in Sfat. Before we get to Tiberias, I want to tell you a story about Sfat. Sfat was inhabited by Jews as well as Arabs. Today, it's all Jewish. How did that happen? So during the build-up to 1948, to the Declaration of Independence, there had been riot after riot of Arabs killing Jews. They'd just come and butcher Jews, and it was under the British, and the British didn't do too much. The British kind of half like helped, but they were just kind of like, let's back off. And in many ways, they favored the Arabs. So this was very bad for the Jews at Tzfat, and they did everything they could to create a militia and to gather some weapons, to have a Palmach unit there, so that when independence was declared, they would have a fighting chance. The Arabs were very clear: we're going to kill all of you. And so, and again, there was like basically the Arab section and the Jewish section, and there was like a long stairway. That's all that divided them, a long stairway. And people they'd shoot. It was no good. So when the British left, when the independence was declared, the British left and gave the fortified police station to the Arabs. And they started to attack and also coming up from the hill. And the Jews were outnumbered and outgunned. They came up with something. It wasn't even a good plan, but it was a miracle. Right. There was a mortar that didn't work well. A mortar is like kind of something that shoots a small rocket kind of up and down. And they had a small mortar and it didn't really even work well, but it made a tremendous sound.
It looks like a piece of plumbing.
Yeah, it was, they really
real piece
just
of-
jerry rigged this thing. They called it the Davidka, like the little David.
Yeah,
Little David, like David versus Goliath, the Davidka. And they have the Davidka today on a pedestal, like a monument
Yeah,
of the Davidka in Davidka Square in Sfat. And they fired this Davidka, and the Arabs somehow got scared. It's almost biblical. Like it scared the heck out of them. Some of them were even thinking that it was a nuclear weapon. This is right after like
they spread that
Hiroshima.
rumor that it was a
Right.
nuclear weapon.
and so the Arabs fled. They all fled for their lives, and thinking that
And left everything.
and yeah, and like almost like the story of Assyria, right? So that it's just a wild story.
It is
Another
great
interesting
story.
story about Sfat.
It's a great story.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, they fought at night because the Arabs, because of
Okay.
nutritional deficiency, so many of them were
Fine.
night blind.
Mm.
I guess trachoma, glaucoma, I don't know, you tell me.
It's another.
But they were night blind, so they from the time of Gloria on, they would hit them at night. They couldn't see the Arabs couldn't see what was happening,
Mm.
but they found out what was happening pretty quickly.
So next we're moving down the mountain. If you come right down the mountain, so we're talking about like on the ocean, on the Mediterranean is Haifa. You come to the middle, which is not that far because Israel's very thin up there. You come to the middle where the mountain is. You get to Tzfat. You go down the mountain and you get to the Sea of Galilee, in Hebrew called the Kinneret. It's a freshwater lake, a beautiful lake. On one side, it's flat, and there's a city there, a major city that we're going to discuss. On the other side, it goes straight up the cliffs, and there's what's called the Golan Heights, a plateau. Now, that was very dangerous for the people living in the Galil, in the Galilee. This whole area is called the Galilee, because up until 1967, the Syrians had the Golan Heights, and they could put like artillery on top, which they did. They put artillery on top of the Golan Heights and could fire down on the Galilee. So it became just a clear objective during the war in 1967 to capture the Golan Heights, which they did. And after that, Israel had the height advantage over Syria.
Very, very bloody battle.
It's
The
beautiful.
Golanis went up that hill. Yeah,
Yeah,
like that. It was like.
we'll discuss that. We'll discuss that next week.
Okay. Yeah.
So I want to talk about this city, Tiberias. Tiberias is, I love Tiberias very much because I have really good memories from all the times I've been there. I always would go on a boat ride.
Oh,
They have these beautiful boats that take you out and they blast Israeli dance music and everybody dances. Everybody gets in a good mood and they're all dancing on the boat, and it's just a fun time as the sun sets. And you take the boat and you look and you see the mountains of Male Gilboa, the Gilboa Mountains, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful scene.
That was fun, Rabbi. The boat
That
ride.
wasn't that fun?
Dancing. And the
The
dance.
dancing was fun. Yeah, Neil remembers the last trip when we did our dancing. And all the water from the Golan like the rainwater from the Golan and from the Hermon, which we'll talk about as a true mountain with snow and a lot of rain, and the mountains north in Lebanon, they all drain into the Jordan River, which begins there at the Sea of Galilee. So that's the input and output of the Sea of Galilee. Also, on the Sea of Galilee, there are hot springs, mineral hot springs, called the Chame Tiberia, the hot springs of Tiberia, and they say they're very healing. Like a lot of people go there, and if you want to float around with fat Israelis in hot spring water, that's the place to go. I don't know why I say fat, but it just seems like fat people love nice hot springs. Everybody likes hot springs, but it's a lazy thing to do, to just sit in the bubbling water. Also, it's important to note that Tiberius really helped save the Jewish people. When the Romans, we talked about this last week, destroyed Jerusalem and completely vanquished the Jewish people from that area, Jews were not even allowed there. The Jewish people went north, and the biggest city where Jewish people lived was Tiberias. Maimonides is buried in Tiberias. That's from a later time. There are many rabbis of the Talmud, of the Mishnah, I should say, who are buried in Tiberias, because the Mishnah was written in that area, in Tiberias and a couple other cities, Tzipori. Yep, up north.
Yeah.
So that's really where, well, there you go. Sanhedrin, the Talmud, and sacred tombs. Rabbi Akiva is buried also in Tiberias, right? This is where the rabbis hung out. There's really nice hotels. It's a very reasonably priced city. It's not a very popular city, kind of a very working class city. So if you want to stay in a nice hotel, Tiberias is nice and has a very beautiful promenade right on the Sea of Galilee. You'll find a lot of Christians there because that's kind of where Jesus walked on the water.
Did miracles.
And did miracles and made fish for people. I don't know exactly the stories. I got to learn a little bit more of the Jesus stories, but
Please.
well, they got to be well-rounded,
Well,
like the people of Tiberias.
Everybody was
In the
there
hot
listening to
springs.
them talk,
Right.
and there was only a few fish, but.
But
They just had all these fish.
Yeah, we did.
It
We
just came from heaven, I guess.
there's on one of the trips, we had some Christians with us, and they wanted to do a mikvah, the baptism mikvah in the Jordan River. And so we were passing and we saw a group of Christians doing the dip.
yeah.
And so we stopped, we pulled over, they got off and they got dunked. So that was good.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's your care.
Yeah. Beautiful restaurants along the promenade on the lake. It's truly a beautiful place to go. Okay. Now we get to Rosh Hanikra. We're going back to the Mediterranean. If you go straight north about 40 minutes from Haifa, you'll hit the end of the road. And that is meaning where you're going to hit Lebanon. And right there's a natural boundary, a mountain and cliffs that drop. It looks just like this. It drops down to beautiful blue, like azure waters. And it was a kind of a bump of mountain that extended all the way, because on the other side of it, it gets flat again. And it was a great place to have a border. But the problem was, it wasn't a great place to have a mountain because there was train lines. Remember we talked about the Via
Maris, I think.
Via Maris,
Yes.
right? That the sea road that everybody would travel on. Well, they had to pass through here, and so they had to go over. But when they started building railways, it wasn't so easy. So the British drilled a hole right through the mountain. They drilled a hole right through this cliff and ran the railway through during the British Mandate. And when the war broke out, we blew it up. We blew up the tunnel because otherwise they would have come through the tunnel. So we blew up the tunnel. And it's blown up till today. But right at the area where they blew it up, they have a big movie screen where they show you go into the railroad tunnel. First, let me back up a little bit. First, you take a cable car from the top all the way to the bottom. And at the bottom of Rosh Hanikra are these beautiful grottos. Grottos are caves that have the water in it. And the sun kind of peeks through and makes the water these crazy colors. Sometimes waves splash in and you get misted. It's one of the most beautiful things in Israel, Rosh Hanikra. And you go down this cable car and you walk into the railroad tunnel, and right where they blew it up, they have a big movie screen where you watch the movie about Rosh Hanikra. Another cool thing about Rosh Hanikra is this is one of the famous areas where turtles nest. The giant leatherback turtle makes its nest right along this area. And one time when I was waiting in line on the top of the cliff for the cable car going down, I looked over the edge and I swear to you, I saw a turtle that was the size of a Volkswagen Beetle.
Oh my God.
It was just like, I looked down and I'm like, it was so big. I've never seen a turtle that big.
Wow.
It was tremendous and just kind of floating there and swimming around and then went back down. So every time I go there, I'm like, turtles. Yeah. So it's a very cool place. It's one of those places that I always try to visit when I'm in Israel. There's they talk a lot about the geology, like how did this form? And it's really, the waves, the erosion, and it's soft rock. It's a kind of like chalk rock, and the waves just hitting against it over and over carve out these tunnels into the rock. Okay. Now we get to Zichron Yaakov. There's some smaller, these are some of the smaller places. Zichron Yaakov is a beautiful village. It's still today, very quaint, beautiful old city. It was founded in 1882. So it was one of the first of the new Jewish settlements in Israel or in Palestine. It was the British Mandate then in 1882, or actually it was before British, it was Ottoman. Right, it's Ottoman. But so during the Ottoman times, Jews were already coming, and they were sponsored by Rothschild, and also sponsored by who was the other besides Rothschild? Who was the other major sponsor? Yeah, Moses Montefiore, who our shul is named after. And why do you think our shul's named Moses Montefiore? Because our shul, Moses Montefiore, and many of the other shuls that became us today, there are 8 different shuls that over the years have become into one.
Okay.
At least 3 or 4 of them were founded. When do you think they were founded?
Probably in 1800s.
In the 1880s. In the 1880s.
Wow.
Right? So in the 1880s, you have the Rothschilds, Baron Edmund de Rothschild, and you have Moses Montefiore sending a lot of tzedakah to help the Jews who are trying to reestablish the Jewish communities in Israel. Right? There was what's called the Old Yeshuv. The Old Yeshuv were the Jews who were there forever. Right? There were Jews living in Jerusalem in the Ottoman Empire, but they were very ultra-Orthodox. Like they were just Orthodox people who never left, They stuck around, and they were actually very anti-Zionist. They did not want these secular, communist or socialist Jews coming and coming in mass to Israel. They thought they were unholy. They thought they were bad. So this, the people that you see at the Israel rallies standing with the Arabs and chanting against Israel, that they are the, continuity of the old Yeshuv, mixed like feelings of the old Yeshuv mixed with Satmar Hasidus, and kind of boiled together and made this, I don't like it. I think it's grotesque, but to protest against your own people. But that's the feeling. They were very religious. They believed that Israel's only for the very religious, and that people shouldn't be coming here with a dream of rebuilding some Jewish thing without Mashiach's permission.
And you shouldn't speak Hebrew. It's only for prayer.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, anyways, Zichron Yaakov was built during that time by named after Baron James de Rothschild. That's where the Carmel Winery is. You know Carmel wine? It's very famous. And this is not on the ocean, but near the ocean, south of Haifa. South of Haifa. One of the cool things about the Galilee is there's a lot of wine. That's where, now there's wine everywhere. There's wine. Wine grows very well in the earth in Israel. It's one of the blessings, right? This week's Parsha, the spies, what do they bring back?
Grapes.
A big cluster of grapes. It says it was the time of the grape harvest that they went. So wine has always been a big part of it. And so the Carmel Winery. This is also interesting. You see the Aronson house. During World War I, Zichron Yaakov was home to the Neely spy network, led by agronomist Aaron Aronson, aiding the British against the Ottomans. They caught him and they put him to death, the Ottomans. No, something happened. He died. He was put to death. I don't remember it. I was told, but I was too busy shopping.
No.
This was when, this is in Zichron
You have a
Yaakov.
sister too that was a spy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A famous woman spy.
Is that what it is? She was put to death too?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the British.
If you go, yes.
But
You go to the house,
By
they
the
have the
British?
gun that shot him. I can't remember.
I think
There's
it
a
was by the
rifle.
British.
It was killed by the, they were killed by the
Yeah, they were
British.
killed by the British.
They
there
were
was-
sneaking people in by bringing people from Europe in. I bet.
Yeah, around that area, right around
Yeah.
Zichron Yaakov was you call it a concentration camp, that they would call it a refugee camp. But when Jews tried to make it to Israel, right, after the Holocaust,
Right.
a lot of Jews were like, we don't have anything left. We can't, and some of them even went back to Poland and they were attacked by the Poles. So they didn't have anything. And a lot of them said, let's go to Israel. They became, convinced that Israel was the future of the Jewish people. And so many of them tried to make it over. But at that time, Britain was not admitting any Jews.
Right.
And the Jews were like, well, we're coming anyways. Where do we have to go? So they tried to sneak in at night. They would take ships and just try to get off the ship as fast as they could and get in. And the British would catch them often and they'd lock them up. And right around Zichron Yaakov is a prison camp called Atlit.
Yeah.
Now imagine being a Holocaust survivor and coming and getting and jumping off a ship into the ocean, trying to swim and try to get out. And the British round you up and put you in a barbed wire camp. You can visit. They have Atlit. It's still there. You can see it. Okay. Akko.
Oh, yeah, Saint Jean d'Acre.
Believe it or not, I have never been to Akko. Akko is like Jaffa, an ancient port city.
Mhm.
And so you have this, and it's also a Muslim city. And
Crusaders.
supposedly it's gorgeous. It's actually my goal to go there, maybe on this coming trip,
Yeah,
It's very different.
Saint
because
Jean d'Acre too.
Yeah, Akko is one of the ancient port cities on the Mediterranean, inhabited for like 5,000 years. One of the oldest port cities in the world. Been used by everybody who we spoke about last week. And again, I can't tell you too much about it because I've never been there, but supposedly it's one of the most beautiful places in Israel. I don't think I've ever gone there because it's not very it's not a
It's not
Jewish place. It's like it's kind of Arab, but
They have a prison there from 1948, a prison
yeah.
that they kept the Jewish people, and they have a big thing there.
Okay.
It says that there are Jews living together.
Very old.
Yes, yes. There are Jews and Muslims. It's kind of like in the north you have that. And generally they've gotten along. There's been a couple times in Akko during I can't remember, it was a few years ago, there were riots and there was some fighting between the Jews and the Arabs in Akko, which was sad. But generally it's been a good coexistence. Nazareth. I also don't, I have to say, I've never been to Nazareth. But Nazareth is the birthplace of
You know who?
Yashki or Jesus.
Andra.
And all that stuff that the Christians believe took place there in Nazareth and in Beit Lechem, which is a suburb of Jerusalem. Nazareth these days is a Arab city, and many of the Christians who live there, the Arab Christians, have been pushed out.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad that the Christian Arabs have kind of been pushed out, displaced by the Muslims. Okay, we talked about Meron. Meron is the mountain that you see when you're in Sfat. So if you're in Sfat in the Jewish quarter and you look out, you see this vast valley, and then you see this mountain that looks like a saddleback mountain. It's so green and lush. It's just beautiful. Mount Meron at the top has a military base because it's a high point. It's a signal base. But what's really important about Meron is on the side of the mountain is the grave of one of the most famous rabbis in Jewish history, Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, who we talked about him, remember, on Lag BaOmer. Remember, he died on Lag BaOmer, that we have bonfires. He was the original one who introduced the Kabbalah. So he said the Arizal renewed the Kabbalah in the 1500s, but in like the year, we're talking about the year probably 200 ACE, around that, 150 to 200 ACE, the Rashbi, or Shimon Bar Yochai, lived, and he taught the Kabbalah, which was in a book that he revealed called the Zohar. He's buried there, and all year long, people pilgrimage to his grave and pray.
Yeah.
It's a very important Jewish site. And then on Lag BaOmer, hundreds of thousands, it's the biggest Jewish gathering in the world, hundreds of thousands of Jews come together and make giant bonfires and cut their kids' hair for their 3-year haircut. They cut the kids' hair. They also give out free food and drink. There's like a custom to bring food and drink and give it out to people. It's a huge Jewish festival. Yes, they light bonfires, they dance through the night. Okay. Metula. For this, I want to see if I can.
Now.
No. Okay. I wanted to show you the map of Israel, but I'm afraid that if I show you the map of Israel, I'll lose my slideshow. So if you could picture Israel, it goes to Rosh Hanikra, the top of Israel, and then it comes up like almost a peninsula into Lebanon. Everyone know what a peninsula is? Like a land jutting into an ocean, but picture the ocean being Lebanon. At the very tip, you have a city called Metula. Metula is surrounded on three sides by Lebanese Arab villages. And when I say Lebanese Arab villages, what do I mean by that?
Hezbollah.
Yeah, up until very recently, Hezbollah.
That's always me.
It's Hezbollah, meaning it's quote unquote Arab villages. But what it really is were people tunneling to create a terrorist attack. And it's a small city. We're talking about, imagine from, here to Quarry Lake, you have Lebanon on one side and Lebanon on the other side. And they're trying to tunnel in, and they could send rockets and mortars. So of course, the people of Metula I can't imagine that people are still living in Metula. I don't think people are living in Metula now.
It's like Kiryat Shimona, that just.
Yeah, and Kiryat Shimona is even more south. Kiryat Shimona we're going to talk about. Kiryat Shimona is the next most northern city. It's a bigger city than Metula. But I just wanted to mention Metula because imagine being someone who lives there and they just had to.
They have a skating rink.
Yeah, that's where a big skating rink is in Israel in Kiryat Shimona, I think. Is it Metula or Kiryat?
It's Metula.
It's Metula.
And they used to have a peace fence.
So it's a beautiful mountainous area, but I always, thought, wow, how brave are people to want to live here, surrounded on three sides by enemies. They had to be either very ideological or very brave.
It's like green, 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 and then when you get to Lebanon, it's white. It's all white. There's nothing growing there.
Yeah.
Nobody's living there now.
Yeah, and
Nobody at
now,
all?
yeah, I don't think so because it's just very dangerous with Hezbollah shooting rockets. But what Israel has done is said enough. We can't have all these northern communities are in danger, have been in danger from Hezbollah rockets. They said enough, and they pushed up into Lebanon, about 7 miles into Lebanon,
That's
where
great.
they now are occupying up until what's called the Litani River. There's a river that runs
Good.
east-west, and the Israeli troops said, listen, you want to keep on firing? We'll just take more territory until you stop firing because we can't have you on our border firing. So that's kind of what's in the news right
There's
now.
a buffer then.
Yeah, there's a buffer. They're creating a buffer. It's in the news right now because Iran is saying, like, we're not gonna make peace unless Israel stops, attacking Hezbollah. And Israel's like, we won't attack Hezbollah if Hezbollah doesn't attack us. And so basically there's a whole, it was in the news today that the Turkish Prime Minister, President Erdogan, said that Israel attacking Hezbollah, well, he calls it Israel attacking Lebanon and Syria, but it's really Hezbollah, is a direct threat to Turkey. I don't see how, but that's what he said, trying to put pressure.
Yeah, stick to the halava.
So anyways, yes, like you said, the Canada Center is the ice skating rink and sports complex. Kiryat Shmona, just south a little bit from Metula. Also, right, like near Lebanon, but that's a big city. Kiryat Shmona is actually a big city, and this is the main one that they're talking about when people had to leave for years. After October 7th, the people living in Kiryat Shmona, a whole city, had to just evacuate and live in hotels until, in the south, until Hezbollah stopped firing missiles, which took a long time. But again, this area is very beautiful. I'd liken it to something between like New Hampshire, Vermont, maybe Colorado. It has that feel.
Yeah.
Okay. What else? There are tide pools that have like cool animals in it in Nahariya, which is almost when you get to Rosh Hanikra. There are pineapple orchards, like near there too. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say. Now, do you want to ask any questions before I go to Jerusalem? Because we didn't finish Jerusalem last time. Anybody have any questions? Israel. You know what? Let me just show you around what we talked about. So here's northern Israel. Here's Tel Aviv, or Netanya we spoke about last time. Caesarea. Then right north of Caesarea is Zikron Yaakov. There's Haifa, jutting out. That's Mount Carmel. Akko, Nahariya, and this right over here on the border is Rosh Hanikra. Remember we talked about Metula? Metula is all the way up here, surrounded. You could see it, surrounded on three sides by Lebanon. Then south of that is Kiryat Shmona, which is the bigger city. And it's kind of a thin extension up into where Lebanon is. We talked about Sfat. Here is Safed on the top of the mountain. And you go down the mountain, to get to Tiberias on the Sea of Galilee. Everyone follow?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we are, Central Israel. I wanted to just go through Jerusalem because we didn't finish last time and we have a few more minutes. Is that okay, everybody?
Sure.
Come on, slideshow. You got this. Okay. Jerusalem. So if you go up the hill from Tel Aviv, from the airport is like kind of right between Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, but that's the coastal plain. You have to go up the mountain, the same road that Abraham took, same road that our ancestors took from the Shvela, from the coastal plain all the way up, and you get to Jerusalem. Jerusalem is perhaps the holiest city in the world because it's the holiest city for Christians, the holiest city for Jews, and the third holiest city for Muslims. It was the Jebusite capital of the Canaanites, the Yebusim, the Jebusites, but King David captured it around 1000 before the Common Era. And from that point on, it became King David's capital, and therefore the capital of the Jewish people. Now, when they talked about biblical Jerusalem, they're talking about the old city. And the old city of biblical Jerusalem was not the same old city as today. The biblical old city extended south down into a valley, and where at the bottom of the valley was the Kidron spring. So you had a source of water within the walls of the old city. And so where the old city really was is now a kind of an Arab village called Silwan, though a lot of the land has been purchased legally by Jewish people, and they've lived there, and they call it Ir David, the city of David. They do a lot of excavation work there and have found like biblical artifacts. Okay. It was interesting. There was a suggestion early on that Jerusalem would be an international city. And David Ben-Gurion responded, absolutely not. That Jerusalem is the capital of the Jewish people forever, the eternal capital of the Jewish people. But in 1948, when the war started, the Jordanian Legion, which was very strong and trained well by the British troops,
Well,
came in, and there were very intense battles in the Jewish quarter of the old city. And ultimately, they lost. And the Jewish people were either killed or rescued, some rescued up to Mount Scopus. They got as many people out as they could, or the women and the children. And the old city of Jerusalem fell to the Jordanians. And from that point, from 1948 until 1967, Jerusalem was split in the middle, East Jerusalem and West Jerusalem. And East Jerusalem was run by the Jordanians. It was part of Jordan. There was no Palestine. It was just Jordan. And they would fire things also. Like, if you were an Israeli soldier on the border, they might shoot at you. So it was a hot border. You didn't want to be hanging out on that border. In the middle of the Old City today, the Old City today, the walls were built by Suleiman. I mean, there was Suleiman the Great. He was one of the great Turkish builders. So they're not that old. The walls, the current walls. I mean, I'm not saying that they're not old, but they're not that old. But you have many Roman ruins. So remember I said that Rome conquered Israel, but they let us stay for a while. Then there was the Bar Kokhba rebellion, the Bar Kokhba rebellion, and they brutally destroyed Jerusalem and the Jewish people who were left. And they completely tried to erase. They made it like a trash heap over the Temple Mount. The story with the Temple Mount is that there was a trash heap there, and a rabbi wanted to find the Kotel. And so he started placing gold coins in the trash, and he started rumors that he found gold in the trash. And so people started digging, and ultimately, and he put up enough coins that they keep on digging, and they found the Western Wall buried under this trash. But the Romans built what was called the Cardo. The Romans had a building plan for every city. They made every city the same way, 1 mile by 1 mile. And the road that went right down the middle was called the Cardo, which means the heart of the city. And that was, it's still, they've excavated it, and you can see the streets exactly as they were. It's like the level of preservation of the ancient Roman Cardo is extraordinary. And you can just walk through there from end to end of the Roman main walkway, the main city walkway. Okay, here's the sites in the Old City. You have the Western Wall. That is the wall built by Herod. All those big giant stones, those are Herod stones. Again, remember Herod, he was like right around the time of the turn of into the Common Era.
Rabbi, can you share your screen?
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Poop. Is it working now? Is it working? Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm so sorry about that. So when you see the big stones, that's Herod. But underneath, if you go down, you will find the stones from the first temple time.
On the tunnel tour?
Yeah, on the tunnel tour. You got to go into the tunnels, but you will see the original stones. So right over here, you can't see it in the picture, but there's tunnels, and they excavated out this wall. The Western Wall is only probably 1/6 of the Western Wall. The Western Wall continues, meaning that what happened was the Arabs built homes against the wall. They used the wall as the retaining wall for their homes. And so when Israel took back the old city in 1967, they cleared off a section, they demolished a section of the Arab homes that were against the wall so that the wall would be exposed, and created a prayer space. So you see how over here there is like a buildings that used to go all the way across, though there was a little space that was always there for Jewish pilgrims.
Okay.
There was like a little space revealed where Jewish pilgrims could go, but like it was kind of an alleyway.
Right.
So that was all cleared, and the Western Wall is a giant plaza where you can go and pray. On top of the Temple Mount, where our temple was, this is exactly where the building of the temple was. And the rock that it's built on is called the Even Shasiya, the foundation stone, which was in the Holy of Holies. So this is not the sacred mosque. This is just a shrine. The mosque is at the end of, like, if you went this way, and right over here, there is this long mosque with a silver dome, which is the third holiest place in Islam. It's the Al-Aqsa Mosque. If you go about a half a mile towards the Christian quarter, you'll find this church, which is ancient, like really ancient, like one of the most ancient churches there is. And you know who's buried there? Well, if you believe in Jesus, you'll believe that Jesus is buried there.
Oh, Holy Sepulchre.
Yeah.
Yes, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and it is wild. It's interesting to go there. I've been there. There's all kinds of Christian sects. Everybody, as you can imagine, fights each other. The Eastern Orthodox and the Catholics and the Georgia Orthodox. Everybody, the Russian Orthodox. Everybody wants to be in charge. So they have to take their turns, and they all, it's very Eastern, like a lot of incense and a lot of like dark tunnels.
Fighting.
Has anybody been at the Dome of the Rock?
I have never.
I
but,
have.
But the tour guide,
I have.
the tour guide we were having for our trip
Have to sit-
offered to take us. Not in. You've been into the dome?
Babies,
What?
and they lay 'em-
He was going to take us to
It's a rock
the
up
Temple
there.
Mount.
It's called Dome of the Rock.
I mean, how-
It's a huge rock.
How long ago?
Huh?
Okay, guys, bring it back.
He was a human.
There are major hospitals in Jerusalem. You have Hadassah Hospital in two different Hadassah hospitals, Hadassah Ein Kerem, which is near the exit to Tel Aviv of Jerusalem, and you have Hadassah Har Tzofim, Mount Scopus, which is one of the mountains surrounding
The original.
the original Jerusalem. That's the original Hadassah Hospital. You have Shari Tzedek. There are many hospitals in Jerusalem. Jerusalem, the old city, is surrounded by mountains. And you can go up on all these mountains and look down, and it's very beautiful. On the north, you have Har Tzofim, which means the mountain of looking, of seeing, because you could view down. On the east side, you have Mount of Olives, which is the most ancient and big Jewish cemetery in the world. Jews have been burying our dead there since biblical times. So to the south, you have what's called the Tayelet, which is a boardwalk, a pedestrian kind of a place to overlook, and that's in a place called Talpiot. Okay, I think that'll do it. Any questions?
That's great.
Any questions? We have one more class left. We've gone through the south, we've gone through the middle, we've gone through the north, and now we're going to go through across the Green Line, which will include what's called Yehuda and Shomron, or also known as the West Bank. It'll include Gaza and what happened there with the Jewish communities there, as well as the Golan Heights. And perhaps if we have time, we'll talk about the Sinai. There were Jewish communities in the Sinai, beautiful communities that were removed as well. And the song Shiloh Faith.
Happy birthday, tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Happy
Um,
birthday, Rob.
Thank you for watching, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Happy birthday. Another year young.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Yes.
I'll talk to you soon.
Excellent.
Bye-bye.